The learning daily Nishmas Etta Ahuva by Tmura Perek Hey Mishnah Aleph. Ketzad ma'arimin al habachar. How could a person do a trick, which the Teizyanda brings down for the Rambam that the word arama is like a legal loophole, and the word mirma is when you're doing a trick shaloi beheter. So here we're talking about a way of doing it beheter, that you would not have to give the bachar to the kohen, rather you could be makdish it. How could you do that? So the Mishnah says, mafkeres, if you have a mother that's about to give birth to its first baby, shahoisamu beres, so oimer, he says, mash b'me'eh shelzu im zachar oila, whatever is going to be born, whatever is in the stomach now, if it's a zachar, it should be a carbon oila. So if you do that, then Yolda Zachar Yikar Oila. When it's born as a Zachar, you can be makriv it as an Oila. The Gemara is Medayik Oila in Shalomim Loi, that you only have the right to upgrade, to say that instead of it being a Bachar, it should be a carbon Oila. But to downgrade, to make it into a Shalomim, that you would not be allowed to do. And Rashi says, Kolshkin will be also to be matal by mum, because then you're losing the kedushas habachar ligamri. The Gemara says that bizman hazeh, you are allowed to put a mum in a bachar before it comes out, before it's born. Make a mum in the bachar, because that's dafka bizman hazeh, because it's not l'chazi ba'akrava. But bizman shebeis hamikdash kayim, when it was chazi la'akrava, you would not be allowed to make a mum. You're not even allowed to say that it should be a shlamim. But you could say that im zachar oila, that it'll be an oila. The Mishnah continues. Let's say he says v'im nekeva zivchei shlamim, that if the child that's born from this animal is a female, so then it should be a shlamim. So then yolda nekeva tikarev shlamim. Frag the Gemara, 1 second. We're talking about a mavkeres. That means we're handling the Indian of Bechar. So a nekeva can't be a bachar. So what's the harama over here? Instead of it being a bachar, it's going to be a shlamim. It can't be a bachar in the first place. So the Gemara says that this case, the harama is not a case of bachar, but rather the mother was a behema of hegdish, and let's say it was a chatas. So if the child is born, the halacha is vlad chatas l'misazli. It was one of the 5 chatais hameses. So he wants to avoid that. So his aram is, instead of it giving birth as a vlad chatas l'misa, we'll make it right now into a shlamim. And Rashi speaks out. This is because there's kedusha only once it's born. The kedushas hachatas would only be once it's born, because this man Amar of our Mishnah holds that vladis kashtim b'haviyasein. They're not only once they're born they become kaddish, but while it's in the mother, it doesn't yet have the kedushas hachatas, and therefore you could change it from kedushas chatas, and then the child would be the misa. So you change it now into a shlamim. Ba'alkopanim, the Reisha the Mishnah was talking about mafkeres. The Mitziyasa the Mishnah is talking about behemas kadshim. The Mishnah continues. Let's say he says im zachar oila im nekeva zivchei shlamim. He says both, and yolda zachar and nekeva gives birth to twins, a male and a female. Hazachi karav oila. The zachar you bring as an oila. Why? Because a stam zachar, Taisyanta speaks out, is a oila and not a shlamim, and the nekeva will be tikarev shlamim. You could bring as a shlamim. The Mishnah continues, Mishnah Beis, Yolda Shnei Zcharim, but let's say it was 2 males that are born, so then Echad Yikar Mem Oila, like we said before. Asheni Yimachar L'chayve Oila, the dam of Chula. And the second one, you don't need to bring as Oila because you only made a neder that you're going to bring one as Oila. So the second one you're allowed to sell to someone else who's going to use as an Oila because it has Kedusha as Oila in it, and keep the money, and the money will be chulin. Frag the Gemara, why do they both have Kedushas Oila in it? The first one has Kedushas Oila, but the second one should should not be it should be b'kedushasa the ima, whatever the mother was. We said we're talking about behemas kachim, so if the mother was a chatas, so it should be a chatas. So the Gemara says now this case of the Mishnah is not talking about behemas kachim, it's talking about behemas chulin. Mishnah continues, Yolda shtei nekevas, let's say he gave birth to 2 females, so same halacha except with shlamim. Achas mehem tikar shlamim, v'ashniya timacha l'chayve shlamim v'dameh chulin. The Mishnah ends off, Yolda tumtum v'adrogenis, if the 2 babies that are born are tumtum and androgynous, Shimon Gamliel says, in kedusha chol alein, the kedusha is not chal on them at all. And the Gemara explains because Shimon Gamliel holds also that vlad is kodshim b'avayasin in kedushin. The kedusha will only be once they're born. Meaning the Gemara understands we're going even. Shimon Gamliel is going even in the case where the mother was a behemas kodshim. Going back to that case, even in the case that the mother is a behemas kachim, Rashi speaks it out. Afila mitzias and amikad avivlad is kachim, and even so, that kedusha would only be once the child's born. And since it was a tumtum adrogenous before that time, so the kedusha is never going to be chal on it.